Phil, thanks so much for joining us on Sports Business Radio. I love your character, Jamie Tartt. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great. Your character has evolved more than any other character on Ted Lasso, in my opinion. What has that been like for you to go from kind of the spoiled brat athlete to you're such a caring person, now you're a good teammate? What's that been like for you?
Yeah, it's been great to do that in a way that feels like it comes from a place of like real life growth. It hasn't all just happened magically. It's happened through trial and error. It's happened through getting it wrong. It's a real sort of two steps forward, one step back storyline, which for me as an actor means that it's so much more interesting. There's so many more things to sort of traverse in there. Yeah, it's been a real joy.
The other evolution we've seen is the friendship between Jamie Tartt and Roy Kent. What's that been like for you? We have all kinds of fans that are saying we need a spin-off with Jamie and Roy.
Yeah, my pitch for that is just a straightforward rom-com. A real at the minute is will they won't they punch each other, but I think it should be will they won't they kiss, will they won't they be together, right off into the sunset together. Yeah, I just think that I mean, Brett as a creator and as a person, I find is one of the most interesting people I know and is excellent at what he does. And so to have him, who he's a writer on the show, so he knows it intimately well. Um, it's kind of like a cheat code having him around.
Hmm. All right, I've got to know, without giving away specifics, the bike scene, episode 6. How many takes was that? That was one of the funniest moments of the 3 seasons of the show for me.
Oh wow, thank you, man. Well, it's funny because we kind of shot it, as you can see, it's all edited together. So we had like an hour and a half, maybe. It was a night shoot. It was like 3 a.m. when we were shooting it, and I had a flight in like 4 hours after that. So you're getting to the end of it, you're like, oh my God. But I think we've probably had like 4 or 5 setups where they move the camera and then they shoot. And I think they just let the camera roll and they were shouting out things to do. And we had references along the way as to what to, beats we needed to hit. And Joe Kelly, who's one of the creators on the show, was shouting out really funny bits. But yeah, it was like, oh man, such a treat to do that. Such a treat to do that.
So Cola has been on with me before. He says you're the best dancer on the squad. Is that accurate?
Well, I mean, I'd say you have to ask him, but I mean, I am enthusiastic, just as I am a footballer. I'm an enthusiastic dancer. You'll probably see me sweating the most.
Nice. All right, I know we have to wrap. Your Nike kids, what do you think of those?
Lush, so nice. Seeing it on FIFA as well has been probably the greatest joy of my life, probably on the video game FIFA. And yeah, it was such a nice, and all of the training kit as well is just lovely.
Awesome. Phil Dunster, thank you so much. Continued success to you. Love your character, Jamie Tartt. Great job.
Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, enjoy your day. Hey, thank you.
Hi, Brian. You're right.
Hey, Nick, how are you? Great to
Yeah,
meet
good.
you.
Thanks. Yeah. How are you?
I'm doing great. So I'm joined by Nick Mohammed. He plays Nate Shelley on Ted Lasso. Nick, what has it been like to see your character evolve from the equipment manager for AFC Richmond to the head coach of West Ham?
Well, it's been a hell of a journey, and a real roller coaster. I knew about the broad trajectory of where Nate was headed for a while. From early filming in season 1. And so I've sort of been able to sort of anticipate what's coming, but you never know how the fans of the show are gonna react, and often I wasn't privy to some of the details in the script, like particularly how season 2 ended, and that sort of speech that Nate gives to Ted and really rips into him, and how sort of visceral that was, and it quite rightly got a very equally visceral reaction. So there's been not highs and lows. It's all been highs because it's just an absolute joy to play, but there've definitely been parts of it that have been more challenging, replacing a lot of what was the comedy of Nate with more emotional and dramatic storytelling. And, that I naturally find a little bit more challenging to do as an actor. But yeah, it's been an absolute ride, and I've loved every second of it.
What have you heard from West Ham Nation, the real fans of West Ham, about you being the coach on Ted Lasso?
They like weirdly, they like it. They're all over it. I mean, it's really odd because obviously AFC Richmond is a fictional team, but West Ham are a real team. So it's kind of this really odd sort of art imitating life, this sort of blurring of realities. And but no, West Ham have been incredibly good sports, and they've sent me a kit with like my name on the back and things like that. And I'm going to go and see them play on Wednesday. And so yeah, they've been phenomenal. And I think whenever there's a West Ham game, they'll always, my Twitter will always go a little bit mad because people mix the two things up. But in real life, I don't know anything about football, and so I feel like it's quite naughty of me to take any kind of credit.
How's the Premier League been? I mean, everything looks so official on the show. Your kits, the stadium, like it really looks like you're the head coach of West Ham. How's Premier League been with allowing for all of that?
To be honest, I don't know how they managed to do it. I mean, all I know is that the show, I mean, particularly now, the show has been obviously very successful. So I think there are a lot of people who are willing, even like Nike coming on board with the kits and everything, the message, the overwhelming positive message that Ted Lasso is sort of thematically believe, be curious, not judgmental, optimism, hope, that plays into a lot of, brands. And so I think, largely everyone has been delighted to become a part of it, and including West Ham, even though they're sort of painted as sort of the villains of it. But, as a result, we've got to film at some great stadiums. There's been some great cameos from real live real stars within the world of football, and so yeah, it's been great for that.
I'll tell you, everyone on my Twitter feed is pulling for Nate and Jade.
Are they? Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
I won't give anything away. You got to keep watching.
No, it's great. Last question: most memorable part of the 3 seasons of Ted Lasso for you so far?
Oddly, I feel like, and I can't speak about it too much because it was the filming that we did for episode 12 of this season. One of the last scenes for Nate, I won't say who it's with, but it's it was one of the last things that I shot on, and it was on the last day of filming. And I don't know whether this is it and whether there'll be any more, but if it is, there's a certain element of kind of catharsis to it. And the scene was effectively, we weren't really acting anymore because we were all quite emotional and exhausted by that point as well, because it'd been a long shoot. We'd been shooting since March, and this was like mid-November. And that was very special because it felt like finally, and especially because I've known about the Nate journey for a long time, it felt that finally we'd got to the very end of this journey. And I was like, oh, here we go. This is good. Like, it feels good to kind of get this out. But yeah, I can't say exactly what it is, but yeah.
Nick Mohammed, continued success to you. Thank you so much for joining us on Sports Business Radio. Have a great day.
You too.
Well, I'm joined by James Lance and Jeremy Swift, who play Trent Crimm and Leslie Higgins on the hit show Ted Lasso. James, let me start with you. Your character, Trent Crimm, has taken a giant step forward in season 3 in the involvement of the storylines. What's that been like for you?
Oh, it's been a joy. I've just loved playing the role and being around on the set more, and it's just been great fun. It's a really fun arc that he goes on from season 1 to 3.
By the way, your voice, as someone who does podcasting and radio, your voice is, you should be doing all the voiceover work for everything in the world right now, in my opinion.
Could you please tell my voiceover agent that as soon as possible? Thank you.
Jeremy, we've seen you play the bass in 2 episodes now. You love music in real life. How is that? 3 episodes. Okay, so what's that been like? How has that come about where you get to play music in Ted Lasso episodes?
I know, it's very cool. Jason sort of asked me in the first season, and they were taking a bit of a risk because I hadn't heard me play, but I ended up playing it in the end of season 1, and actually a little bit, but you couldn't hear it at all because it wasn't amplified in the end of Carol of the Bells. But yeah, Brendan suggested it for this season. He texted me quite early in the year to know whether to put it in or not. And, I just love doing that because I just haven't done it very much, to be honest. I've only played with with a bunch of free jazz Marxists on a live radio show where we just sort of went boom, and stuff like that. So I really haven't played with very many people. So it was so cool to play with these young kids who were just astonishingly and annoyingly talented. It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
This is for either of you. How much say do you have in ideas around storylines for your characters on the show?
I pitched a few things. Higgins family go to Mars. They didn't go with that one. It was a budgetary thing. But I think that they're very. It's usually the creatives, but they're pretty cool on kind of character narrative and the nuance. Juno, in particular, marks up everything about her character, and I've been on set where she said, no, she just really wouldn't think that or say that. So and they appreciate and act on that. So that's very cool.
James, the bond of the characters and the cast on this show, you can see it on screen. I see it off screen when you're at awards and things like that. What has that been like?
It's all fake.
Such good actors.
No, it's great. It's really good. Yeah, we get on really well. It's a superb bunch of people having a kind of, in a way, ride of our lives. Well, I can't speak for everyone on that, obviously. Oof. But yeah, it's we get on great, and it's a ball.
Thank you so much. Continued success to you both.
Thank you.
And to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.